I know how hard it can be to find gifts for the comic fan in your life, and I know this because every single year around Christmas time, people come up to me and are like, hey, so what do you want for Christmas? And I look at them, and I'm about to say, but then I lose it, and I just get confused. I've forgotten everything I've ever liked or wanted. It's like my whole sense of being has been pulled out of me and is now just stuck in some weird ether I don't understand, and here I am trying to answer this heartfelt question and I just can't do it. But not to worry, because I've teamed up with some friends and we've come up with a really solid list of really good gift ideas you can just have in your pocket and be ready to pull out at a moment's notice that your comic fan in your life, be it your kid or a parent or a friend or whoever, is really going to appreciate. This is going to be a really helpful video for you guys, so stick around. Let's check this out. If the comic fan in your life has books that they collect like this, where they're all just like these tiny individual individual issues, then a great gift, I promise, that they're going to love is bags, boards, and boxes. Now you see, every single one of these tiny single issues books, when you're storing them and collecting them, it's recommended that you put them in a poly bag and this white cardboard piece, because these protect the comic and keep it safe. And these are always in short supply. And a big part of that is because it's not the most exciting thing ever. My comic book budget, I'd rather that go to comic books than bags, boards, and the boxes that I store my comic books in. Not to say there isn't a way that you can jazz that up. If we look at what a board has included on it, you've got the glossy side. This is the side that the comic is supposed to sit on, and then you have the matte side. A lot of comic shops will stamp this with their logo or whatever. If you're an artfully inclined person, this is essentially just a blank sheet of paper, this matte side. You can color on this. You can write something nice, you can write a handy note, you could draw a fun picture on it, and so you could jazz it up a little bit, and that really works. There is a variant on the boxes though that I have found a lot of joy and appreciation in, and that is this. It's a little comic folio. This has been really helpful for traveling because I can open it up, I can take the comic, I can put my comics inside the box, and then I can close the box, and now I know I can travel anywhere, like through conventions or whatever else, and I know my comic book is going to stay safe because I've basically given it its own box. So yeah, this kind of thing, it's not like a super exciting gift, but it is a really meaningful one. Because when you give something like that, it says, look, I may not understand everything about your hobby or your collection or what that's all about, but I do care enough for you to be able to keep it safe. And like I said, it frees up the comic book budget to buy the actual comics rather than, you know, the collecting supplies that we're always stuck with. Tip number 2, ask for their list. Regardless of who it is, every single comic fan I know has a list. It's a list that has all of the trades, the omnibuses, the single issues, all of the comics that they want to have in their collection but do not have yet. I found this method to be extremely helpful. That's what I end up doing most years, because frankly, I've gotten to the point in my collecting where it's kind of hard to just go someplace and grab a random book and bring it back, because there's a good possibility I have that book, or at least I have all of the really successful popular ones. And so you have to dig a little bit deeper to find the comics that I don't have, that I want, and I am looking for. And if you get the whole list, this does a couple of things. Number 1, it preserves the surprise element, right? Because I don't know what you're picking up on the list. It could be any number of dozens of titles on here. I have no idea. On number 2, it guarantees that whatever you pick up is going to be something that I like and love. And that's really handy. If you're still intimidated, don't be. Take that list, ask for the list, take the list into literally any comic book store and say, look, here's the list that I'm trying to get a Christmas present off of. What would you recommend? The people at comic shops are like custom built to help you out with that. They want you to find the best books possible. and they'll direct you to where you should go. They'll give their own recommendations based off of the list. It's a great time.
Welcome to the Game Room. My name is Bradley, and as an omnibus and game collector, I wanted to share with you some gift ideas for the comic book fan who has a love for video games. The two walk hand in hand, and there's no shortage of epic options when it comes to fans of both worlds. Let's dive in. Every comic book fan has a favorite character, and chances are there's a game related to that character. Whether it's web slinging with Spider-Man, brooding as the Dark Knight in the Batman Arkham series, enjoying some R-rated fun with Deadpool, or saving the galaxy with Guardians of the Galaxy. These games bring iconic characters to life in a way that feels straight out of the comics. Just keep in mind, you might be limited by the gaming system your comic book fan has, so it's worth checking what they play on first. But games range from the PlayStation 5 all the way back to Atari, so there's no doubt if your comic book fan has a system, there's a game for that system. A big thank you to Taylor for having me on his gift guide, and thanks to all of you for hanging out in my game room. Y'all are welcome to swing by anytime. Now, let's pass it back to Comic Crash.
I just realized this might be one of the first videos on this channel that I was making that isn't necessarily for the comic book fan, but is for everybody else. It's kind of interesting. The heart of comic books is art. That's the exciting bit of a comic book. That's what makes it unique and special, is all of the art involved with it. And all of that art is made by a real person. And those real people, more often than not, are totally open for art commissions. So that's my next tip. Go find a comic book artist and ask for a commission. Commissions are cool because they are a one-of-a-kind gift that is completely 100% unique and completely 100% belonging to the person that you're giving the gift to. And that's exciting. That is just so cool to be able to pick this up and say, yeah, I have art from one of my favorite comic book artists. This is mine. This is something I have. Alternatively, look on their websites and you're going to be able to find not just options for commissions for custom art. You might find the pencils for the original art from comic books. A lot of artists will negotiate to have the original art rights for their comics, which means that they're allowed to take the pencils or the inked pages that they started making and they can sell those original prints. That's kind of cool. It's kind of like having an animation cell. You know that there's only that piece right there. That is the original. Everything else is a copy. And that's really, really, really cool, and that's a cool gift to get. So look up some comic artists, look up some favorite artists from your giftee. Again, you're probably going to be able to find some ideas from their list, or you can just ask them who some of their favorites are. Look them up and see if there's any original art from them that's being sold off, or if you can commission something from them. That's a solid gift. That is a really cool gift. That is a gift that I would brag about to friends all over the place all the time.
What's up, all you wonderful cosplayers and prop masters? My friends over at Comic Crash asked me to collab on them with a video in which I can give a few gift ideas for the cosplayer in your life. My first thoughts are, if your cosplayer is into 3D printing, some 3D printing accessories or supplies, research their printer, see what they need, or see what colors they might need for filament or what types of filament they need. If your cosplayer is into EVA foam building, whether it's armor, leather, any sort of props like prop weapons, EVA foam is an insanely useful material. I've been able to build a lot of things out of EVA foam. If you can get your cosplayer an airbrush compressor and brushes and paints, I have found airbrushing to be one of the best way to paint my cosplay builds. Action figures can be a very good resource when you're trying to build a cosplay, because you have this physical item that you can hold, and you can look at top to bottom what their costume entails. Anyway, these are just some ideas I had for good gifts for your cosplayer, the cosplayer in your life. Be good to each other out there, happy holidays, and as always, be inspired.
So I don't know if you knew this, but comic books can get really expensive, and a big part of what limits my comic book reading is the price of it. The cost of comic books kind of forces a lot of comic book fans, myself included, to read the same handful of characters over and over and over and not branch out too far. And the reasoning for that is because I'm just not sure if I'm going to like it. It's an issue, right? Like, if I don't want to spend an extra $5 to $20 every week to read a comic book that I might not like. And so I stick to the same characters over and over because I have enough faith that I am going to like this. But you know what gift would really save me from that? Would be a subscription to a comic book streaming service. There are a handful of subscription services that are kind of like Netflix for comics. You've got Marvel Unlimited, which has this huge library of Marvel comics just there and open to read. And then you have DC Universe Infinite, which is the same thing for DC Comics. And then there's Comixology, which comes from Amazon, though that one is a little bit less good. And that would be really cool as a gift to get, a subscription for one of these places, because that gives a really cool gift of being able to open up my reading taste and to discover things without any risk as to whether or not I'm going to hate it or love it or need to spend money to read this. And yeah, it saves me a lot of time, saves me a lot of money, and could really open up my horizons. So that's a really solid gift to look into. Look into that. The last suggestion I have in my list here is to look at comic book or comic book character inspired merchandise. Because chances are, if the comic fan in your life exists and collects comic books, they're not just collecting comic books, they're collecting all kinds of different things. I like to collect action figures. There are all kinds of tiny, small, fun little knickknacks that you can find and collect, and they're tied into comic books in some way. Here are some of my Superman action figures. I love these things. I love collecting them. But the problem is, though, there is not any other Superman action figure that is in one of the big box stores like Target or Walmart that I want but don't already also have. And to the ones that I am trying to chase after and collect, I wouldn't ever ask someone to actually go out there and get it because they're just way too expensive. I'm looking for premium figures now. So this has caused a problem amongst people I know and my family, and I know that it's got to cause a problem in others, where they don't want to try and shop for stuff like this because I probably already have it. But there is a really easy way to circumnavigate this. This is a box, and on top of the box is the Superman logo. This was made by my sister. She went to some hobby or craft store, she found a box, and she painted it with this and gave it to me for a birthday once. And I still have this. This is still a really, really cool gift. This is a one-of-a-kind thing that shows, she cares about my interests, and so she made this cute little thing for me. This is a cool and thoughtful gift. So, something physical like this that you put your heart and soul into is really cool. And that's, I think, the moral of the story here. When you put heart and soul into gifts and you're looking into it, it shows more than just, oh, here's a fun thing that you like. It shows that you care enough about the person to care enough about this thing that they're interested in. And that's a general thing about gift giving. I think that's why people love giving gifts so much, is because you really get to tap into the person that you're gifting to. You get to really show off just how much you care about what they are going through and what they love, to the point where you're willing to go out there and learn just a little bit about it so that you can help contribute to that world. So those are my gift suggestions. Thank you so much to Bradley's Game Room for his suggestions, as well as Cosplay Therapy. They're fantastic people. Okay, Cosplay Therapy is doing some great work helping people to really connect to themselves through the art of making costumes and going to conventions. And then you have Bradley's Game Room, who is very family-centric, very fun, very chill, very relaxing. I love watching his content. So go out there, check these people out. Go give them some love, give them a subscribe, and give me your gift ideas in the comments below, you know? Like, let's help each other out. Let's keep this snowball rolling. And until next time, thank you for joining me. Have a great day. Remember to always be your best self, and Merry Christmas. And if that's still intimidating to you, don't be intimidated. Take the list and go to literal... Oh, crap. That's right, I'm not filming on my phone anymore, so now my phone makes noise when I don't want it to. That's nutty. That's new. That's a new development. Oh, I'm so happy I got a new camera. Hello, new camera.